Alpine's Hemp Company. Gummies, seltzers, syrups, and more. Treat yourself to the best.
The individuals depicted have been arrested but not convicted at the time of story postings. This information does not infer or imply guilt of any actions or activity other than their arrest. We make no warranty or guarantee as to the accuracy of this data.
This is the WHKY News, where it's time now for our crime report. I'm Ralph Mangum. WHKY's Arianna Mack leads it off this time with an update on a case we first reported last month.
A man who was reportedly involved in a chase with the North Carolina State Highway Patrol last month is now in custody in Alexander County. 41-year-old Herman Eugene Williams Jr. of Statesville is charged with felony counts of flee to elude arrest with a motor vehicle and assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill an emergency worker, habitual impaired driving, and assault with a deadly weapon on a government officer. He's also charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of assault with a deadly weapon and 1 misdemeanor count of injury to real property, along with several traffic offenses. WHKY previously reported on the incident, which occurred on December 17th. A State Highway Patrol member attempted to stop a Jeep Liberty for a speeding violation on US 64 in Iredell County near the Alexander County line. The suspect, 41-year-old Herman Eugene Williams Jr. of Statesville, was transported by helicopter to Atrium Health Carolina's Medical Center in Charlotte with non-life-threatening injuries. He has been released and was placed in the Alexander County Detention Center under $500,000 secured bond. A district court date is scheduled for January 27th in Taylorsville. I'm Arianna Mack for WHKY.
Thank you, Arianna. After a lengthy investigation, Caldwell County Sheriff Kevin Bean has announced the sentencings of 3 drug traffickers. WHKY's Rob Eastwood has the details.
All 3 of the defendants sentenced are Lenoir residents. They were sentenced on various drug charges. 2 of the 3 received prison terms in excess of 13 years. 44-year-old Thomas Ansel Burgess was recently sentenced to 13 years, 3 months in prison for trafficking Schedule 1 controlled substance. During the investigation into Burgess, narcotics agents seized more than 450 grams of fentanyl with a street value of more than $268,900. 50-year-old James Eugene Moore Jr. was sentenced to 35 to 51 months for trafficking cocaine. During the investigation, narcotics agents seized 50 grams of cocaine, 380 fentanyl pills, and 8 grams of marijuana with a street value of more than $21,000. 41-year-old Zachary George Stevenson was recently sentenced to 13 years, 3 months for trafficking Schedule 2 controlled substance. The investigations that led to the sentencing of these individuals were conducted by the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office ICE Unit, the Department of Homeland Security, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, and the Lenoir Police Department. Reporting from Caldwell County for WHKY News, I'm Rob Eastwood.
Thank you, Rob. One more from the courtroom now. In Catawba County Superior Court on January 13th, 75-year-old Jimmy Lee Randolph of Conover was sentenced to 8 to 11 years in prison after pleading guilty to 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, inflicting serious injury, and an additional count of assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury. The Honorable Karen Edie Williams, Superior Court judge from Mecklenburg County, handed down the sentence after Randolph entered the guilty plea on the day his case was scheduled for trial. The judge ordered the sentence to run at the expiration of his parole revocation. The offenses occurred while Randolph was out of prison on post-release after serving 33 years for a 1990 murder conviction. When he was released from prison, Randolph was working a job and was befriended there by the female victim of the assault. She helped him acclimate to life outside prison, and he assisted her with some of her financial obligations. Later on, the female victim began a relationship with another man. In September 2023, the woman and her boyfriend returned to his apartment and were attempting to enter when Randolph physically attacked the man and knocked him to the ground. He then stabbed the male victim in the back with a 13-inch kitchen knife. During the attack, the man's 3-year-old son was knocked from his arms and was also struck by the knife. Randolph then stabbed the female victim in the back. Multiple calls to 911 were made to report the incident, including one by the defendant, during which he told the dispatcher that he had committed the offenses. The knife described by the victims was found in the defendant's apartment. Robert Backman led the investigation for the Conover Police Department. Assistant District Attorney Jonathan Greer and Taylor Rocket handled the prosecution with aid from legal assistant Stacy London. Thank you all for joining us here on the Crime Report. For WHKY, I'm Ralph Mangum, reminding you to keep it clean and to keep it legal.